The Talk Show. My name is Chloe. I am your host. This is the talk show where it is my mission to love and heal God's land through transformative conversation. So before we begin, I would like to give you some updates about the show. So first and foremost, today is May 30th, 2025, and we are now recording the official episode, jump starting the talk show for A Woman's Touch. Woo today! Also, I would like to mention, make a little edit to the pilot episode. If you were able to catch that, where I mentioned that we will have a segment called 5 Minutes of Fame, where we're going to scratch that name and we're going to call it Let Your Light So Shine. This is where our guests will be allotted 5 minutes to display their gifts and talents that God has given them. If they have a business or expertise that you, the viewer, may like, and you might want to find a way to connect with them. But either which way, this is all for the upbuilding of God's kingdom as well. So now at this time, I would like to go ahead and introduce our guests. This lady here sitting with me, gracing me with her presence, she is fierce, honey. She has the utmost wit. Her humor is amazing. She has confidence and she leaves a lasting impression on everyone that she encounters. At this time, I would like for you to give it up for Journey Millsaps.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Chloe, for having me.
Thank you for gracing me with your presence.
Of course, I'm so
Yes.
glad to be here.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so Journey, how you doing? Everything all right?
I am good. It is a Friday, so thank God we made it to Friday.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump in and to the topics today. So yeah, happy to be here for sure.
All right now. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. So before we begin our conversation, I do want us to have a little, I guess we'll call it an icebreaker or a trivia, whatever we would like to call it.
Okay.
But I just have 3 questions for you.
Okay.
So it's going to be would you rather, okay?
Okay.
So the first would you rather, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm going to go to my little notes here because I wrote them down. Okay. All right. So keep it going. Keep the show on the road. All right. Okay. So, Journey, would you rather fast for 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, comparable to how Jesus, our Lord and Savior, was tempted by Satan?
Right.
Or would you rather walk in Eve's shoes when she was persuaded by Satan about eating from the tree of wisdom and knowledge?
Okay. That's honestly a great question. I think I'm going to go, just because I know me, right? 40 days, 40 nights temptation. I don't think I'm quite there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to fold. Day 4. So I'm going to go with Eve.
Okay.
Now, of course, I wouldn't have the knowledge, hindsight is 2020. So we can look at Eve's story and say, oh, all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. But I feel the serpent's talking to me. I can easily remember what God said. I can eat off of all of these trees except this one. Let me move around. Actually, where is my man? Adam, where is my man? You feel me? Because again, God created the man and the woman, you know what I'm saying, for different purposes. And so that would be provision and guidance. So at this moment, I may need a little provision and guidance for my man. Where's my man? So yeah, I'm going to go with Eve for 200. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next question. Would you rather spend 1 hour in heaven or 1 week on earth with Jesus?
Okay. 1 hour in heaven or 1 week on earth with Jesus. So Jesus is like physical here?
Physically here. They just think modern day Jesus, like, what he gonna look like? Like, okay,
right.
What you got? You got some dreads, Jesus? Like,
right.
Look at you. Okay.
Okay, another good question. I'm just trying to think because it's like, where would I get the most out of, right? Um, I think I'm gonna go with the week
Okay.
on earth with Jesus because 1 hour, again, we know like a lunch break. An hour goes by quick, fast,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, I get to heaven. Let's say, oh, okay, Jesus, I'm here, but is my granny up here? Is my papa up here? Is my auntie here? You know what I'm saying? So I may not be as focused on what he has for me. I may be focused on other people who could be there.
Yeah.
What is my mansion looking like? Let me see the
Ooh.
let me see the gold and the yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I think I'm gonna go for the week on earth with Jesus. I could definitely, I mean, I feel like we all have felt like if Jesus could just sit here on the bed and just tell me what to do.
Yes.
And so I think I would take that week to really just walk and talk. Might go ahead. Let's go ahead and take some PTO from work, right?
Right.
So I can get a full 24 hours with him. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Now my last question. Would you rather have a life of challenges, but it brings forth blessings, the things that your heart's desires, or would you rather have a less challenging life and and just live comfortably?
So the blessings, there's a difference in the blessings that I'm getting, right? Okay. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna go with the first option, the long suffering, and then being able to get the blessings that I want. I feel like the Bible tells us that we're gonna have to suffer regardless, right? So even if I was to pick the less amount of suffering, the trade-off isn't as good, right? And if I truly trust God and have faith, He's gonna be with me regardless,
Amen.
right? So yeah, let's go. Big risk, big reward. God got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those conclude our questions.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
for those beautiful answers.
Of course.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So now we're gonna go ahead and get into our conversation.
Okay.
All right. So you and I have discussed the Book of Job
Yeah.
a little. So for those who don't know, the Book of Job is about a servant of God that was tested. Satan had gone to God, and basically God gave permission for Satan to test Job. And because Job was faithful, Job was actually a wealthy man. Job had livestock, he had land, he had a family. Um, and Job basically was so Satan basically went to Job, and basically Job lost everything. God allowed it, and it's almost a thing of God, why do you allow bad things to happen to good people? So, and even though all these things were taken from Job, he he still served God. He still kept his faith. He didn't give up. So, with that being said, to go into our today's conversation, which we're going to talk about why do bad things happen to good people? Yes. So I would like to start out with asking you, Journey. Tell me about a time that you felt betrayed.
Betrayed. So many. Let's see. Let's keep this light, I guess. Well, I feel like there's, different levels of betrayal, right? So, a betrayal where, a friend, they may have betrayed me, a betrayal from a parent, a betrayal from, just kind of everything has its different levels. Let's go betrayal with, let's just say a friend, right? Okay, so I had a friend, my very best friend, and we were living together at the time. I would definitely recommend, don't move in with your best friend. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right.
So we lived together, and slowly but surely, her boyfriend slowly but surely moved in, unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to the leasing, unbeknownst to the bills being split, unbeknownst to, no one was aware, right? There was a point to where we had actually gotten, I came home one day and I had gotten, there was an eviction letter on the door. Okay, I pay my bills. My bills were paid. I don't even play like that, right? So it's like, for me to come home to having an eviction letter when I know I paid my part, and then there's extra people in here, you know what I'm saying? That's an issue. So when I had the conversation with her about it, she was basically saying like, the leasing office is lying. I should believe her. I don't why I'm not believing her. Like I'm tripping. And it's like, at the end of the day, the paper said what it said, right? Eviction is eviction. You got to get out. You got to get out.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I felt like that was a betrayal, because it's like, how and where did our friendship go? Especially, we have been friends for years. Had went to college, graduated college, met at church.
Yes.
So I think it's just different, especially in your mind, when you feel like somebody's your sister, somebody's supposed to be in your life forever. But I feel like life teaches you people are there for seasons and for reasons. And so I took it as a betrayal, but also a life lesson. Yeah.
You were able to grow from it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it also shows you to also make sure that you choose wisely with your friend. Well, like you said, you don't move in with your friends. You don't move in with your friends.
Don't move in with your friends. If you want that to be your friend after the lease,
Yes.
don't move in with your friends.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Oop, there it is.
Okay.
All right. So we all experience tough times in life.
Right.
So with experiencing tough times, especially as a believer, how were you able to hold on to your relationship with God, or were you able to hold on to your relationship with God through whatever trial or tribulation that you ever had to experience or go through?
Okay. And on a women's touch, we're being honest.
Yes.
Right? Okay, we're being vulnerable. I can be honest.
Yes,
okay.
please.
Okay, cool. I feel like there are times to where, if we're being honest, you may not lose your faith completely, but you don't have as tight of a grip on it that you may have once had. So I had shared some things with you, but there was basically like a season where I was going through, it was like issue after issue, trial after trial, right? And so by the end of it, I would say it started in about August. Something had happened. I had experienced like episode of basically sexual assault. Time had went on, other things had happened, and by December, I would say my faith was super low. Didn't have faith. I was texting the suicide chat line, really just reaching out, trying to get a grasp on something. I felt like the things that I had done and the space that I was in, I wasn't worthy to even call out to God. I wasn't worthy for God to hear me. I felt like what I had done, I had got myself in a situation to where everything that I was going through, I deserved. But God is so gracious. Amen. Because He will ultimately, it'll come full circle, right? And so, like, even when you say like how you introduced me, and I loved it, but the introduction of like being so confident and being bold, like, I would have not been able to be the person that I am sitting here had I not gone through that test and trial, right? And so, even back to the question that you had asked, would I rather the long suffering and get the reward, or just live it mediocre? I feel that, you have to go through something to be better, right? You have to, in order to even sharpen the knife, you have to, continuously sharpen it and sharpen it and sharpen it. So yeah, there's definitely been times to where I feel like my faith has wavered. I feel like even in this season, like even this week, I feel like, there's been some times to where my faith has wavered, or I'm not as tied in, not as locked in with God as I should be. when I go through things, I do a lot of like disassociating. So it can be like, I'm going through it, but then I'm not, right? Like I'm acknowledging it, but then I'm not, because it's easier just to kind of go through it and not feel every single thing. And so, yeah, but I feel like when you have a relationship with God, you know God's character, you know that God is gracious and he gives us grace, and that I would say when my relationship with God really started to build, it wasn't the feeling like, oh, I messed up, I can't go back to God. It's like, okay, this is my dad. I may have not talked to him for a couple days, but he's still my dad, and I literally have no one else to call.
That's right.
So I would be doing myself a disservice trying to go around and figure it out myself when, I mean, I'll be 30 in a couple months.
Oh,
so, birthday. So I know by this point there's nothing that I can do without God. So might as well go ahead and circle back. Go ahead to Daddy.
Yes, and the beautiful thing about God is he's always going to meet you where you are.
Right.
It doesn't matter how far you go from him.
Right.
Whenever you're ready. Because we have to remember that God is a gentleman.
Yeah.
He's a gentle God. He's not going to impose on anybody.
Right.
And whenever you feel like, or anybody feels like they're ready to come back, he's there, open arms.
Open arms.
Open arms.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And just something else you had said is like, whenever you're a believer, I'm just gonna paraphrase.
Yeah.
As a believer, it's like you might lose some of it, but you don't lose all of it. You never lose all of it.
Yeah.
I know there's been times where, that's the only person I could talk to. My Heavenly Father is the only one I could turn to.
Right.
I could turn to people, but I could always turn to him because that was always my constant.
Right.
So I love what you said. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So going back and tying in with Job.
Yeah.
So what do you think about his friends who came to support him, who were there for him? Because, tell me, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I think, well, one, if you haven't read Job, definitely it's good. Like when you had brought it up, I hadn't read Job yet. And so in preparation for today, I went ahead and read it, just to even start from the beginning. I mean, literally the first chapter, God is, yep, you can take it. You can take whatever you need to take from him, right? So it's just like, I feel like as a believer, you're like, hold up. Hold up, God, slow down. You just letting the devil come in and just, oh, well, yeah, I want to tempt him in this way. I want to test him in this way. Like, Job had 10 kids. I'm going to get to your question. I'm sorry. Job had 10 kids. The fact that God, right, as a believer, right, God, that you would let all 10 of my children be in the house at the same time and the house collapse on all 10 of my babies.
Isn't that something?
Right? So once things like that happen to you, and again, I don't have a child, so I can't, empathize with that type of pain, but just to imagine losing 10 children, all 10 of your children at the same time, in the same incident, I mean, that has to be hurtful. That has to bring you down. So again, I mean, you're not only taking my money, you're taking my kids, you're taking my family, you're taking my servants, you're taking everything that gives me any type of status, right? You're taking my health. He got sick, everything. I feel like there are times to where we get that low, you can't see anything but just that lowness, right? And so I felt like in those chapters when Job's friends were trying to talk to him and encourage him and remind him, there are I empathize, and I felt the same way. I feel like we all have felt the same way Job has, to where it's like, it just don't feel like it's gonna get no better. It just don't. And you can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say. My mama, my grandma, anybody can say what they want to say. But nobody has walked the steps that I have. And nobody has experienced the loss that I have. And nobody's had to go and cry at night and call to God and do all of this, all the things that I've had. And the fact that, Job was faithful. One of God's own. I mean, that's literally why he allowed him to get tested, because he knew Job and he knew that Job wouldn't fall. This wouldn't, You know what I'm saying? This would be a test, but it wouldn't be detrimental for Job. I can't imagine putting myself in Job's, foot in his shoes to even think of losing everything. Right? And even if we think about it now, I mean, but it's so crazy to even tie that into today because there are so many people losing so much in 2025, right? So losing jobs, losing cars. I mean, regular car payments, what, $500? You lose your job, that car's gone.
That's right.
Apartment. You're not finding an apartment under $1,000, $1,200. You lose that job. I mean, a lot of other stuff is gonna get taken as well. So it's just like I feel him when he's just like, y'all can't console me, because regardless, I went through what I went through, and like nothing that you can say is really changing my situation right now.
So, Journey, in this life, we're going to go through some challenges, right? We're going to go through some failures. A part of success is to fail. Right. To be successful, you got to take some L's.
For sure.
Ooh, come on, Dr. Seuss. I think that was a little wrong. Okay. So, if you had experienced some failures in your life, with the failures that you may have experienced in your lifetime, would you go back in time and change anything? Or why? Why not?
That's a good question. I mean, to be authentic, I would have to say like no, right? I wouldn't go back because again, I wouldn't be the person that I am. Yeah. But also like when I look at some of the L's that I took, it's like, did I have to take those? You know what I'm saying? Could I have, if I could go back, would I have made a smarter decision so I wouldn't even have to take the L? Right. Would I have gone back? Okay. So I'll tell you a story, right? To where, honestly, where it's a testimony. It could have been an L. It could have been way more of an L than it was, right? But if I look back, then I could have not put myself in the situation. Yes. Okay, so there was a night to where I was, me and my best friend had went out, had a good time, and so me and this friend, we had never really like been able to really like go out or party together. So this was our first time as adults actually going out, having fun together. We had been friends since teenagers. Right. And so I had started a new job, virtual job, work from home at the North Face. And so it was a Friday night we went out. I started that job on Saturday. Now, I was supposed to, in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't matter what I do the night before, as long as I make it home in time to work, then I'm good, right? Okay. Well, I started driving home. My best friend, she lived in Pineville at the time. I live off of like Brookshire. So a smooth 30-minute commute, right? Okay. So I'm driving home. I'm thinking I'm fine. I wake up. That's what I remember. I remember waking up. I see police lights in my rearview mirror. There's a cop at the window. And so this is all while I'm like assessing my surroundings, right? And then I also, as I'm assessing it, there's a not quite empty bottle of tequila sitting right there in my passenger side seat, right? Okay, cool. So I'm already set up. I feel like, boom, I'm sitting in the L. I'm sitting in the L because there's no telling where this could go, right? I'm on Beatty's Ford. When I woke up, my seat was like leaned back. My car was in park, like chilling. I don't know what had happened with me when I got to that light. Maybe the light was too long. I just needed a break. I don't know what happened, but sitting on Beatty's Ford at 3-4 o'clock in the morning for hours, I mean, a lot more could have happened than a DUI. Oh, for sure. Right? I could have been raped. I could have been killed. I could have been robbed. I could have been sex trafficked. I could have been sexually assaulted. I could have been I mean, the list goes on, right? Yes. Right? The L's that I could have taken. The L's that I could have taken, right? Okay, cool. So the cop is like, hey, I wrote in my window, I'm like, hey, officer. He's like, hey, what you got going on? I'm like, I don't know. He was like, so, you can't be driving with open containers in the car. And I was like, I'm so sorry, officer. I really didn't know where else to put it. He was like, well, if you have an open container, then it should be put in your trunk. FYI, everybody, if you have an open container of alcohol, put it in your trunk, okay? Yes. So you will not get any type of the open container type of issue against you. Yes. So I'm like, okay. I pop my trunk. Hey, can you put it in my trunk for me? He's like, okay. So he takes the bottle, puts it in my trunk for me. Mind you, I'm being like super transparent. Like I don't have anything to hide. Mind you, at the time, I was driving in a fishbowl. I had no type of tent. So let's be real. If I was already asleep, I already know the police officer already looked through my car, already was seeing if I had anything else. So there's no need for me to try to hide anything or act weird. I'm just trying to get through this situation. So he puts the bottle up. He comes back. Asks for my license and registration. I give him my license and registration. He takes it back to the car. Mind you guys, it's raining at the time. But I just note that. Okay, so he comes back to the car after he runs my license and registration, and he's like, Journey, you have nothing on your record. What are you doing? And I say, I don't know. I messed up. I messed up. I'm sorry. Like very transparent. Like, how'd I get here? I wish I had a story to tell you. I don't know, but I'm here, right? I'm sitting in the L already as is. Now, mind you, this was after all that situation that had happened where I texted suicide chat line to where I was already feeling bad, right? But still feeling like I'm not worthy of God's love. Still feeling like I have to do something to earn it. So the officer says to me, he says, call somebody to come get you and your car. Come get me in my car. So you mean I'm not going to jail. I'm not getting a ticket. I'm not getting a citation. I don't have to go to court for this. Come get me, and my car could have got impounded, right? Call somebody to come get you in your car. I ended up calling my parents. Shout out to my parents. They did come and get me. And so I was able to walk away with that scotch-free, right? Nothing on me. No true L taken. But if anything out of that situation, the L that I would take is love, right? So when I remember I got my mom's car, and God was like, now don't say I don't love you no more. Don't say I don't love you no more, right? And it's so crazy. It's so crazy that I bring this up because one of my newest friends, she literally just got a DUI this week. Really? Right? Wow. So when people tell me things like that, it's like, it could have been me. It should have been me. It would have been. Wow. It would have been me. But in my situation, God didn't want that stain on me. He wanted me to be able to continue to go forward. And you know what I'm saying? Everything we go through doesn't necessarily have to tear you to the ground, right? And so I walked away from that with just a level of gratitude. Now, there was something that happened, and when my parents did get there, things didn't necessarily go fully as anticipated, right? Parents being parents. Yeah. But I was so on a high to where it's like, do you not see this white cop looked out for me? Wow. When I could have went to jail, I could have, you know what I'm saying? I could have taken it back to even it raining that night. There's a man who, that's his corner. That's where he sits. That's where he is, right? So if I was there and it wasn't raining, that man would have been there. That man would have, you know what I'm saying? So the probability of me getting attacked or me getting something worse happening to me, it God was literally every step looking out for me. And so, yeah,
protection.
yeah,
Oh, His grace, His mercy.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, that is beautiful.
yeah,
Um, it's like God used the cop to display His love,
yeah,
His like again His mercy. God gave you grace,
yes,
and that's so beautiful that where people a lot of times people think that God is such a, how do I say, He's chastising, that word, what's the synonymous to, what's the word?
a big mean
A big
God.
mean God,
Yeah,
basically. They think He's a big mean God, but God is such a gentle, loving God, a God of another chance.
Yeah.
And that's what God gave. He gave you a chance.
Yes, He did.
He said, "This is He protected you."
Yes.
And I'm so glad that He protected you.
Yes,
Girl.
me too. And I feel like that's kind of where the difference comes in between religion and relationship.
Yes.
And so I feel like that is like the most important thing. And even tying it back to Job, right? Like Job didn't just have religion. Oh, I'm Christian, or, whatever. Would they be Christian?
Disciples, maybe? Well, no, was Jesus? I don't think Jesus.
Not.
He, believers.
Let's just go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if sometimes with religion, it can restrict you, restrict your mind, restrict your thinking, restrict your faith, right? I feel like when you have relationship, because I had a relationship with God in that particular situation, I could see it full circle. Like, and I am not somebody who's like, even the very first time I got pulled over, the first time I got pulled over, I pulled over on the wrong side of the road. Just because I didn't know, like, this isn't something I do, right? I don't get pulled over. I don't be breaking laws, like, right? So now I have a cop right here. When I tell you, Chloe, I was so calm. Like, when I look back, I was so calm. And I'm not always a calm person, right? I can be very dramatic, very lively, dramatic.
We love it.
Dramatic, right? But I wasn't. I was literally so calm and so cool. And when I look back, it's just like literally I was just sitting in the palm of God's hand.
Wow.
And there was really no need for me to do too much, because at the end of the day, regardless if God had showed up in the way that He did or if He didn't, I was going to have, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no need to, I'm crying out, right? Because really I'm trying not to act or be perceived as drunk. That's another thing. That's another reason why I wasn't like, I'm calm. I'm cool.
Yes.
I'm not gonna act crazy because the last thing I need for this man to think is that I'm still drunk or that I'm really like just off my rockers.
Conducted yourself well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Decorum.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what, Journey? I think I want to answer this question for myself.
Yeah, please.
So experiencing failures in this life. Wow. Ooh, okay. Well, I guess a big piece of my own story would be my heart's desire, which is to be married.
Right.
So, it talks about in I believe it's Proverbs 18. I don't want to quote the wrong. Anyway, it is definitely a proverb, though. I know that it says it's the man that finds a wife that finds a good thing
And obtains favor with the Lord.
Yes, receives favor from the Lord. However, I was the woman always searching for her husband. So, with that being said, I remember a time before going off to college, I was in Sunday school, and my Sunday school teacher told us to write a list about what we want in a husband and to pray about it. And when I heard that, I went off running. So when I graduated high school, went to college, I said one of my things on my list. I meet him in college, right?
Right.
So I said, okay, well, I prayed it. It's on my list. Let's go to college.
I got
Let's
4
go
years.
Look, right? Let's
Right.
go search it.
Right.
Shoot, add on +2 comes to be 6. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But in school, that's when I was searching for my husband. That's where I found depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I found my darkest time. I did not want to leave my room. I ate. I put on over 100 pounds. But I call that, basically where I call that as like a failure is because, although, so seeing it as a failure because of, I'm in school, not doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I'm in there focused on finding my husband, and I'm not going to classes. I'm there wasting my mama's money because I'm too depressed to leave my room because, this guy, I pursued this guy and found out he's not the one, or that guy. It was only, I can count on maybe 3 guys I say, oh God, this must be the one. This must be the one.
Right.
But it wasn't the one. And I, transparently, I did things that I never thought I would do, or things that I experienced in school that such as, smoking and, having premarital
Right.
intercourse
Right.
with guys that were not my husband. But would I go back and change these things? So I called them failures, but I don't really feel like they were failures. I feel like they were more of a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in every learning experience, there's a blessing. Because it showed me how, one, what I do or do not need or want in a
Right.
man. And it also showed me, like, God's love. It shows me that when a man, first of all, not to pursue as a woman, to be the catch because I am the treasure.
Correct.
But to also just remember that it is a man that finds a wife.
Right.
And that whoever God has for me, God's love is going to be shown through that man.
Right.
Right? So, especially when God has his hands on it and it's a man sent by God, I know that it's going to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, okay, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that I struggle with as well, right? So I feel like in our 20s, you have this, what they say, if you want to make God laugh,
Your plans.
Tell them your plans,
Yes.
right? So same way, I was younger. I'm like, surely, at least by the time I graduate college, right, I should have my man, have my husband, right? So 29, I would anticipate if I was my 20-year-old self, by 29, I will be married. I will at least have a kid. I will, you know what I'm saying? Have a house and have a picket fence and have a dog and have a fish, a turtle, whatever. The sky's the limit. But there's definitely times to where my mental health wavers, and I feel like I'm left thinking and feeling like, am I not good enough for a partner? Or even back to the subject of like, why do bad things happen to good people? Why don't good things, or why is this good thing not happening to me? And so I feel like that's something that I still struggle with. And I just wanted to ask you, like, is this something that you're still dealing with, still struggling with? Like, what are your thoughts and feelings on that?
So, do I still struggle with wanting a husband, basically?
Yeah, because everything is so relationship heavy.
The comparison spirit, the social media is just, dang, everybody getting married. Every time I get on my timeline or on Facebook, somebody getting married or getting engaged or something like that. But I have to say, no.
Good.
I'm finally getting to a place where I can say that I'm much more content than where I was maybe I say college, because that's where it was. I've grown. I feel like I have evolved. Um, Now, granted, mm, full transparency moment.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
My relationship with God has always been. I've always had a great relationship with God, but can my relationship with God be better? Definitely.
For sure.
Um, I almost feel like I have on season, I have off seasons with God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like there's days where I'm like in it, and there's days where I'm just like, Lord, I'm just gonna chill for a little bit, you know. But when I'm in it, when I'm on my on season with God, I definitely have more. My discernment is heightened.
Right.
I have I feel because I'm a writer. He gives me more like I'm sorry.
You have something that he gives you stuff to work off
He
of.
gives me things to work off.
Yeah.
Of, yes. So.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel the same way. On and off seasons, and literally the season may switch even between the weeks, even between the days. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like today, okay, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna start the day by reading my Bible. I'm gonna start the day by getting on my knees and really going before the Lord and really expressing everything that's on my heart. And sometimes, and that's the thing, and I feel like that's why God does grant us the grace and mercy that He does, because we're humans, right? And we're gonna mess up. And like, even if you read the Bible, if you really read and study your Bible, the people that were in the Bible were just as messed up. Messed up. Right? Not perfect. Not always on season. Not always in season. And so I feel like the deeper that I've been getting in my word, not that it gives me an excuse, right? But more so that it gives me revelation that I'm not living this brand new life, right? This isn't the things that I'm going through and the trials and tribulations that we're experiencing. Women have gone through that. People have felt that, right? That depression, that not feeling an alignment, that God, where are you?
That's right.
Right? And I feel like even bringing it and tying back to Job, God, literally Job was like, "Curse the day I was born." Like, come on, God, if you're gonna, bro, just, I'm not saying kill me, but if you're gonna, I mean, doggone. What is we doing, right? And so I feel like sometimes we feel the same way. Like, and social media, because it's so big, and I mean, literally, unfortunately, our days kind of revolve around it, and it's hard to even have a business and not have social media, things like that. But that propaganda is always put out, that relationship, even just the meme pages. I want a man, I want a sneaky link, I want somebody to lay up with, I want somebody to hold me, I want somebody to, and it's like, yeah, actually, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I do want somebody to hold me.
No, right.
Right? Yeah. But do I want, after somebody holds me, to feel empty afterwards?
Ooh.
No. Right? Because I know that's not from God, and I know God wouldn't allow me to feel like that. And so I feel like we've both had times to where we've done things, made decisions, and it felt okay in the moment, but afterwards, that conviction is there. I feel no better. I feel actually worse. And so
that's why it's important to what we feed, allow it to be fed into our spirit as well.
Yes.
What we watch, what we listen to is very important.
Yeah.
It makes sense, especially considering, like, okay, because I know, like, for example, say, for example, a guy at work came in with a big old pizza, and I went craving pizza, but all of a sudden I wanted some pizza.
Right.
So what I do? Go buy me some pizza.
Right.
It's like, what you see, what you're influenced by, what you see, what you hear, and things of that nature.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I feel like it may have been easier back in the day, right? Maybe when Job was going through stuff, he didn't have people constantly showing the new house that they built, and oh, I got this stock, and I'm this, and I just got this new money, and every morning I wake up, they just showing this premium breakfast that they made, and all of this stuff. Like, comparison truly is the thief of joy.
It is.
It really is.
It really is. Just thinking about, I wish I was here. Lord, why can't I just have my man, Lord?
Right.
Or why can't I just have a career, Lord? I'm not going to go there, but no, I can't go there.
Go there.
You know what? Even just thinking about, the time I spent in school and graduated, having a degree, but coming out of school, can't get the career. I'm told that upon graduating, I'll get the job so I can pay back these loans. I can't pay back these loans. These loans probably going to be there till the day I die.
Yeah. Yeah.
But ultimately, I went to school with these people. They got the same type of degree I have.
Right.
They have a bachelor's degree, bachelor's of science, and I do too. Why is it that I come out of school, they have the career, but I don't?
Right.
But at the same time, I can't look at other people's pictures because I have to look at my own. I have to be able to create my own. So,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, and I feel you, and I feel like, look, I feel you, and I've been there, and I'm still there some days, right? But I feel like sometimes, again, we create this plan for ourselves and this timeline for ourselves, and when it doesn't come into fruition, we're disappointed, we're irritated, we're, God, where are you, right? And he's like, whole time I've been here, but we was going based off your plan. Are you ready for mine, right? And so I say all that to say, we're literally in God's plan for you. So don't be so specified on what it should look like, or I need this 9 to 5, or because I feel like I've been feeling the same way. Like, okay, God, I want a new job. God, I need something new, career wise. And it's like, God's like, who even said I wanted you to work a 9 to 5? Who said that? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we put time limits on our life. God isn't God isn't confined by time.
Ooh, Lord have mercy.
He isn't confined by time. So again, who's to say next year or within the next 5 years or even this time that you've created this ministry, if you had a man or if you had some type of relationship, would you be able to even focus on it?
No.
Right?
Girl.
And I take that the same way with like my acting. So I started off doing a stand-up comedy. It didn't feel natural. So boom, we matriculated into acting. I look back, I've been doing acting for maybe a year, right? I've been able to do so much, meet so many people. God, truly has blown my mind with the acting thing. And I think it kind of just comes down to like, the smaller you think, the harder you make it for God. Or the harder you make it for yourself, right? Dream big. Dream big. Dream big. We won't, Dream big, girl. Yeah. Dream big, Chloe. Dream big, Journey. Dream big, y'all. Like, dream big because, again, we're thinking like, okay, I need a 9 to 5 job. I need this, I need that. And God is like, girl, I'm going to put you in a position where
Jesus,
you couldn't even fit a 9 to 5 in there.
Lord have mercy.
You bigger than a 9 to 5.
Ooh, have mercy. That right there was profound what you just said because it just reminds me how, like, say for example, I told God I never work at Amazon. First of all, you can't tell God what you're not gonna do because He's gonna make you do it anyway. Because what He gonna laugh at your plans? Because you gonna tell him, oh no, okay, I'm gonna show you something.
I'm gonna actually make sure you work.
I'm gonna make sure you. Yeah. So, but I do find that if I were working in like corporate America, putting college, I don't believe I would have the opportunities that I would if I were working at Amazon warehouse where I met connections with people who showed me love that I never knew that I could have before. People who told me I was important. People who said, Chloe, why don't you just let people love you? Like, I'm not saying corporate America I couldn't cross paths with people like that. But the fact that I crossed people with a job I said I would never work.
Right.
At a warehouse I said I'd never work. If we're gonna be real, I worked at a grocery store. I worked at a warehouse. I worked at Well, currently at an airline, and and let's speak on the airline right now. I'm making connections with people from all around the world because there's people traveling from
Right.
all around the world.
Right.
God has me where He wants me to be at this time in my life. And you never know, every time I go into work, I say, Lord, allow me to be a beacon of light. Let your light shine through me so that I can be a beacon of light to others, Lord. So, where I might be upset, comparing myself to the next lady or man or whoever has this success or whatever, God has me right where I need to be because He has me connected. You never know. Every day is an interview. You never know who
Yep.
you might cross paths with.
Yep.
You never know.
Yep.
So I had to be humbled by that. It's humbling, In the beginning, it wasn't because
Yeah.
I'm just like everybody else that made it. Why? And I got people ask me what I do. I gotta tell them I work at a grocery store. No, I want to tell them I want to work. I work at corporate America, but no,
Right.
it's okay, Chloe.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I feel you. And it's like, even when I go back to the whole college thing, like, did God even tell me to go to college?
Ooh, Lord.
Right? So we both got these degrees and this debt to show for it. But it's like, did God even, was that part of, you know what I'm saying? Like, was that even part of the plan?
Is that even part of the plan?
And again, college was great. I got some great memories, and I know we both went to HBCUs, and we got that nice college black experience. And that's what you feel like post grad or post high school. You got to do something, right? The pressure's on. You got to do something. So you go to college and you try to make the best out of it. But I mean, college doesn't. I feel like we went into it thinking this is gonna be a stepping stone. And it wasn't the stepping stone that we thought that it was going to be.
It was a part of the journey.
It was a part of the journey.
Okay, journey.
Yeah. It was a part of the journey. Right.
Yes.
So again, the people that we met there, we needed to meet. The things that we went through there, we needed to go through. But just based off what you're saying and the jobs that you've had, it sounds like God wants you to be able to be accessible to people or people to be accessible to you.
Ooh.
Right? And so if He was to put you behind a cubicle.
Wow. Ooh.
That's
He boxed me in. Ooh,
yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I've heard, Chloe, your calling is bigger than four walls.
Yeah.
There are no walls for what God is going to have.
Right.
And I thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely don't feel discouraged. I hope even in this podcast, this recording, right? I know that you may feel like, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you're putting all of that pressure on yourself.
Girl, you ain't saying nothing but a word right there.
You're putting the pressure on yourself, right?
Yes.
So we are here solely because of Chloe. The background, the talk show, the idea, solely because of Chloe, right? We are here literally because of her, because God put this in her heart. Wow. So I want everyone to know you are well equipped. Wow. And you are meant to be here.
You make me cry, Dirk.
No, don't. You can cry if you need to, but there's gonna be other time. God is pushing you to the forefront. Wow. And you are like digging your heels in, like, no, God, no.
Go.
Go.
Someone said, Chloe, it's time to go. Go. Lord.
Go.
Okay, Lord.
Go. And again, He knew if you were to be behind a cubicle, you would hide.
Ooh, Lord.
God has to put you out there.
Jesus.
So that people, even if you won't say it, people can still be accessible to you. Because He knows if He puts you in position, just like He knew with Job. If I put Job in position, he gon' act a certain type of way. Yes. I know if I put Chloe in a room full of people and somebody is needing something, somebody needs some encouragement, somebody needs some light, I know my baby Chloe is gonna be that.
Wow.
So continue to be that light.
Wow.
Continue to just shine.
Oh my gosh.
You are doing great, Chloe.
Thank you, Journey.
You are.
I thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, that is going to conclude our conversation.
Okay.
So we are going to go into our next portion. And this segment of the show is called Let Your Light So Shine. Let me do it one. Shine. Okay, stop. Okay. So at this portion of the show, this is where our guests, again, just to reiterate, our guests are just going to display their gifts and talents that God has given them, business expertise, just be able to show the viewers. So at this time, we're going to give Journey the floor. She has a little thing she has prepared for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so crazy that, because I'm like, okay, I'm an actress. I got a monologue, right? I got
Yeah.
some type of monologue.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share a monologue that I wrote, but I wrote it last year. And it's like in time you be thinking like, oh, I had so much time has passed, right?
Yes.
But last year was the Valentine's Day thing, your Bible study.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
May is when I actually performed this particular monologue that I wrote.
Okay.
So I kind of mentioned the Bible study group. So I'm actually talking about a woman's touch. So I'll
Really? Okay.
Yeah, when I was reading back through, I was like, wow.
Oh wow, okay.
Isn't this something?
Okay.
So okay. I'll go ahead and get into it. Have you ever been at the bottom? Rock bottom. The bottom of the bottom. The no one can save you but you. Bottom. The text the suicide chat line because I can't text Jesus himself personally and tell him that I'm ready to check out. Bottom. It's hard being a black woman. Lord knows. I went to this Bible study and there was about 15 women there. 10 out of the 15 women have been sexually assaulted. Is that our new norm now? A norm where I can't even trust somebody with a penis? A norm where I can't even trust myself? How did I get here? How did I get here? So just a little excerpt.
All right.
A little excerpt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Journey.
Of course.
That was beautiful. So, Journey, how can we connect with you? Like, how can we stay connected for our viewers?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Journey Millsaps. So that's Journey Millsaps, Millsaps. I am a working actress, so you can definitely DM me if you want me to star in anything, be in anything. I am off of the stand-up comedy, so just actress work, please. But if you want to connect, collab, do anything like that, you can definitely hit me up on those avenues.
Thank you, Journey.
Of course.
All right, and that concludes our episode for today for our first episode for A Woman's Touch. Thank you for being here. Thank you for rocking with me. I love y'all. Thank you for watching.